Yeah.
So I'm going to give you two more tries. Okay.
Yeah.
This is try number two. This is the second attempt. What is the argument that
Yeah.
God is the necessary precondition for intelligibility?
Yeah. I mean, this again, like I really have nothing more to say. Either you can pony up and like
Yeah, if
provide
I could
me
just if I
You
could
don't
something,
have
just
to
or
argue.
or
Mason,
you
if I could
can't.
just interject, Mason, if I could just interject, this is what I'd like to see. I'd like for you to say, I understand what you're propositioning for the necessary preconditions. However, in lieu of that, I position X, Y, or Z. This is why your position is wrong because of A, B, and C, and very well may be whatever. But to continuously ask what your argument for that during that monologue that Redefine was so gracious to give us, I don't know if it's genuine or not. I don't know if it's genuine or not. Would that be fair if
I
I
think
asked you
it's
to do
very
that?
genuine if somebody makes a claim that's disputed. I think it's very genuine to ask an argument for it, and more genuine to repeat the question when he just rambles and dodges it, right? So I'm just trying to
Right.
figure
Yeah.
out
I
if
get you, but it seems like we're
Yeah.
going into a spiral. I'd like to. Here's what I want, Mason. I want
there's
the
no spiral. There's
conversation
no
to.
spiral.
I want the conversation to advance. So I'd like for you to position an alternative rather than just
So
saying what's
why
your
is
argument for
that?
that, what's your argument for that, because that's going to push Redefine into
I
another
think we should
monologue,
just
which I
end
was.
it. It's like
Why
Yeah.
is
your
that the
redefine
standard?
doesn't have an argument.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's just yeah.
If
If
he
you
has,
could just
I'm happy to end
presumably
it here.
somebody
If he
can
has
be
no argument, that's fine with me.
all these
See, but here's
all
the
these
problem, though. I heard an argument. I'm asking, what is
Did
your
anybody else
contention
hear
with
one?
the argument? Then saying elucidate further on the
The
argument, Mason.
argument
I
you
A
heard
said
single.
one.
it.
I did not hear
Yeah.
the
What's the
argument.
argument?
Bruce,
What's the
maybe you
argument for
could put a
that?
All
poll
right.
up and
We'll
see if
ask
there
him
are
I'll
again.
tell
arguments.
you.
And
I can even
One more
quote.
time.
it could be
I
super
can summarize
generous.
real quick. I can summarize what I think he said. What I think he said is that like he was talking about like a sort of worldview comparison where he instead of giving an argument, he was telling me, okay, he was kind of like, commenting about how atheists engage in this bad behavior, and then he said, well, what would be interesting, Mason, is if you posited like a contrary worldview and I critiqued it.
Yeah.
None of that's given an argument. That's just saying that he doesn't like how atheists behave, and that's just telling me to forward like an alternative theory for him to critique. None of that's an argument for his claim.
Well, when you try to feed like a child something like sauerkraut and they reject it, yeah, they reject it, then typically the child is going to give you like some sort of explanation as to why. They're going to be like, no, because it wasn't cooked by a German woman who like knows how to cook real good sauerkraut. They're going to respond. But notice again, so what imagine having all of these critics of Christianity on a panel, but not one of them can actually give a worldview that we can juxtapose to mine. Imagine that.
So, host, notice how he's not giving
yeah,
an argument right now. Right now, he's just complaining that we won't propose a different theory.
Right. So we can say that what's the argument for that? But I'm going to point out again, okay, that for a fundamental argument, you got to end somewhere. And so all the critics need to do is simply provide a worldview that offers coherency for things like.
I think I see that as fair, Mace. I think
that's all.
Here's the deal.
I'll just say this.
Maybe you
Send
can
me
say that
home
I'm just siding with
packing,
Redefine because we share the same theology. But at the same time, I get that. That's
Send me
fair
home.
too.
Yeah.
But
We can
I'll just say this.
I would
I'll just say
like
this.
a proposition in lieu of. And
I'll just say this, and then we can. Yeah, we don't have to like keep looping. I'll just say this. Okay, so remember you were saying, well, I heard an argument. Well, just now he didn't give one. What he said is that he is complaining about the behavior of atheists, and what he wants me to do is like presuppose or propose some different theory about the preconditions for intelligibility for him to critique. But none of that's given an argument.
would that be wrong, Mason?
None of that's actually given an argument. That's just telling me what he would like to do. So I'm happy to end it here. I think I'm satisfied at this point because I'm sure that everybody agrees he has no argument for that claim.
Well, I think one of us doesn't have a worldview that can satisfy the preconditions to ask what's the argument for that, right? I mean, that's where we're at. Again, like maybe Mason is nice as he is and polite as he is. Excellent rhetoric game. Hands off, or hats off to that.
How old are you?
But what Mason didn't do is provide a coherent worldview because he is implicitly making a counterclaim. He's basically saying, "Nuh-uh."
So you're saying that neither of you provided a coherent worldview, right?
No, I did provide a worldview.
Mason didn't bite
and
the
I didn't
bullet.
get I didn't get a
Presumably you
he
came to that
wasn't-
worldview for reasons, right?
yeah, I didn't get a counterclaim. I didn't get a rebuttal. I didn't
Standard,
I didn't
right?
I didn't
You could
even
just
get
burden
hold on.
shift.
I
Hey,
didn't-
whoa,
Can we just like
hold
move
on.
past this?
Yeah,
This
that's
is,
not
like,
what I
so
did. I didn't-
tiresome.
By the way, I am completely done right now with this. I mean, I'm happy to move on. He can say whatever he wants. I've gotten what I wanted.